Skye, do you want to get started?
All right. Today we are reading Korey's piece. Korey, do you want to say the name of your piece?
Yeah, just called Max and Dana.
All right. And just so everyone knows, there is some more explicit content in this one than last week or last month. Sorry. And so if anybody is uncomfortable with coarse language or talks of mental health issues, they don't get too dark. So there's no issues with suicide or anything like that. But if anybody has any issues surrounding that, feel free to click away. And without further ado, we'll start reading.
Yes.
All right. Interior, kitchen, day, a montage, gray countertop, faded pill bottle, sticker on the bottle that says Seroquel, 20 milligrams, take 3 times a day with food. Henry, 27, drags into the kitchen. A pot of coffee bubbles. Henry's hands open the pill bottle. A note inside the shape of a heart. Henry's hands unfold the note. It reads, "May all the shit that flies around us land as far from those we love as possible." A Hungarian proverb. Henry looks at the calendar. There are 13 large X's on the calendar, with a large red circle 2 spaces away from the last X. Henry grabs a bowl of cereal. He makes a cup of coffee. Henry swallows his pills dry. End of montage. Blackout title card. Max and Dana. Interior, studio, day. Sculpting studio, spacious, covered in dust. Henry gets a call from Terrace. 24.
Hey, babe. Babe. My baby boy. I'm just on a smoke break, but I have 3 minutes. Tell me.
Tell you what.
Oh, no. Fuck you, my dude.
What?
See, no. I'm going to say, how's it going with your sculpture, dummy? And then you're going to say, I'm making a sculpture? That's news to me. And then I'm going to say, but we talked about it, didn't we? And then you're going to say, I don't think it was me you talked to about that. And then I'll be filled with self-doubt and confusion. I'm just not having it today.
Of course not. You're going to Mexico. You don't need that bullshit in your life.
I'm not going to Mexico, babe. I'm going to Cancun, where a nurse can really live. I can get just as drunk as everybody else. I purposefully didn't bring any sunscreen. Shut up. My goal is by day 3 to look like a raisin with teeth.
And sunglasses.
And sunglasses.
You could just skip the middleman and hook up an IV of rum.
Rum. Speaking of drugs, you should have enough meds till I get back, yeah? Honestly, I don't know how you ever function without them. I didn't mean that.
No, it's okay. I wonder that too. I'm 27, for Christ's sakes. I should be taking care of myself.
Hey, no, it's okay to ask for help. Come on, we talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so proud of you for getting back on the chair, baby. You can still be an artist. I know it. You are you. You move the way you want, no matter what. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody who is that amazing stops being great. I know it's been a long time, but I know inspiration is just waiting around the corner for you. Okay? Okay. Holy shit. Chrissy paid for first class for everybody. Like everybody, even the girl who farts so bad that she has to wear charcoal undies. Like what? What is her name? You'll probably be asleep before I get home. Oh my god, I can't believe you can sleep now. But if you hear rummaging, it's just me packing my bags to leave you.
Finally had enough, eh? I knew you'd get sick of me eventually.
It's just time you know. My ticket is one way. I've siphoned all our savings into an offshore account, and I'm going to run away with Don Juan DeMarco. Yeah, I'm going to suck his perfect dick and make hot Latin love on the white sandy beaches of Mexico. And he's going to listen to my stories, touch my bum, and give me back massages for the rest of my life.
Glad you finally found someone to give you a massage.
Can you at least pretend to be jealous?
I can.
Okay. Stop distracting me. How's it going with your sculpture?
Didn't you say you had 3 minutes left in your break?
Yeah?
That was 3 minutes ago.
Oh, fuck tits.
I love you too.
End call. A montage. Various. Kitchen. Henry makes lunch. He takes his pills. A studio. He sweeps. The kitchen. Henry puts a stew on. Studio. He dusts. End of montage. Interior. Kitchen. Night. Henry opens the pill bottle. Pills fall into the stew.
Shit.
Hey, did you have a breakthrough?
Yeah. I'm just so excited about it. I had to call you. Wow, babe. I'm just feeling this creative energy. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Oh, babe, yes! You did it without your helpers.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Interior. Kitchen. Day. Henry puts a self-care schedule on the fridge.
All right. I can do this.
He brews a pot of coffee and puts toast in the toaster.
I can do this. I can totally do this. I've got a plan. This is what it's all about. Being a responsible adult, right? Terrorists will be so impressed, but they'll have to take me off the mix. But if I can get this sculpture done without them, they'll see.
Coffee bubbles.
There isn't any challenge I faced that I didn't kick in the teeth. She's right. I almost lost my thumb that one time, and I'm still finished that with fucking honors. I mean, that was Max's fault.
Coffee bubbles.
So, it's a hiccup. The meds are supposed to make me level enough to live the life I want to live. Max and Dana were not real. They aren't real, and you know that. That's what they said. Eventually, I won't need them. Well, I'm obviously ready.
Toaster pops.
Fuck you, I don't have the nerve.
Henry exits. Interior. Studio. Day. Enter Henry. He turns on classical music. Henry pulls gray clump of clay out of cold storage. He sits on a stool and rubs his hands together. Henry hums. A montage. Hands appear on Henry's. Henry's eyes close. Slender arms move Henry's hands as he sculpts. Dana rests her head on Henry's shoulder. Henry's eyes still closed. End of montage. Interior. Kitchen. Day. Henry makes a cold cut sandwich. He hums. Interior. Studio. Night. Montage. Henry sits down on his stool. Dana massages Henry's shoulders. Henry's hands move through the clay. Dana lifts her hands slightly off of Henry. End of montage. Dana hugs Henry and prances away.
Thank you. Time for bed.
Henry turns off the lights. The beat. Henry turns on the lights.
Paper! Paper! There's an earthly body there. If the body is the earth, then the core, the heart. The heart is, yes, bigger circles. The heart is the swirling plasma of energy pulsating within. Each biological system is an ecosystem. Digestive, circulatory, rainforest, desert. Each system relies on the intricate pieces within it. Colored string, thumbtacks. The hawk eats the rats. That eats the bug. The eats the grass. More paper. The kidney eats the bladder. That eats the lungs. That eats the skin.
Eat the skin.
Observe the way it leans to the left, my boy. It resembles, write this down, it resembles a wave, gravity reaching at something. It's a hand. Yes, it is indeed a dexterous entity. It's its own inertia. It is its antagonist. Does the wave know it cannot possibly control such raw natural power that dwells within it? Why does it not reach for guidance? Such is its unnatural desperation that it persists with all the fury of Mother Nature. It bodes from the core. It reeks with radioactivity. Go put grapes in the microwave.
Interior. Kitchen. Night. Montage. Henry eats grapes. Sparks fly from the microwave. Henry watches.
I always deliver.
The microwave hums. Henry eats grapes. End of montage. Interior. Studio. Day. Morning light peeks through the curtains. Henry is hunched over his sculpture. Dana is sleeping. The alarm goes off on Henry's phone. Interior, kitchen, day. Henry puts on a pot of coffee. He makes KD for breakfast.
1 tablespoon of butter? Love is 3 times as potent. We want your stomach to be filled with love, no?
Henry adds half a stick of butter to the pot.
I see it, my boy. A box of number 2 sauteed with onions in hot sauce? Now mix in half a package of your finest crispy bacon. Now build for the crescendo. Half a brick of melted shredded cheese on top with enough black pepper to choke an elephant. Then add pine nuts. Those are good fats, my boy. I give you the cheese and sneeze.
Henry holds the bowl in the light.
You are the king of food.
Interior, studio, day. Henry devours the cheese and sneeze. Dana awakes. Henry eats with fever. Dana places her hand on Henry's stomach. Henry throws up. Interior, studio, day. Radio plays contemporary jazz. Dana is dancing when Henry enters.
I'm sorry. I can't do this. They were right. You're no good for me. Thank you for everything you did for me when I was a young artist. But there's another woman in my life now, and she's real, and she loves me.
Dana dances around Henry.
No, I don't know what to say. You took everything from me. I gave it to you. I thought you were my friends. You and Max. He is being rather aggressive, by the way. Aren't we friends? Don't we get along? But they say that you don't care about me, that I have to let go of perfection. I won't be a productive member of society or lead a normal life.
Dana touches Henry's chin.
And what is wrong with that? Whoever said normal was the standard for existence? What is normal anyhow? Preposterous. How can we possibly hope to cure society if we cannot perceive it for what it is? Society is not the goal. Society is the drug. Normalcy is the side effect. Have you ever wanted that for yourself? My boy, bah!
Dana conducts. Henry dances.
We are the exploding plasma of a sun. We carry within us the very same stardust that paints the cosmos. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. We are the wind and the forest, the fire and the flood.
Henry bumps into the couch.
Fuck this stupid fucking couch!
Henry powerbombs the couch, leveling it to the floor. Interior, studio, night. Dana sleeps on the broken couch. Henry takes a sledgehammer to his refrigerator.
Crush capitalism! Crush standards! Crush automated responses! Crush circuit boards and cell phones! And put your back into it! The flames of the old new world burn the old, just as the fire clears the forest.
Henry fires off a blowtorch like a flamethrower.
Nothing can stop us! Nothing can poison the atmosphere! No smoke can enter these lungs, this impenetrable fortress of skull and mind and soul. And whoever challenges me shall reign forever in his own personal hell. So shall it be written!
Henry writes hell on the floor.
So shall it be done!
Whew, time for bed.
Interior, kitchen, night. Henry lays on his back. Dana dances around him.
Please, I want to sleep. Please, just 20 minutes. I won't forget you, I promise. Please, just please let me sleep. If I sleep, I promise I'll dream of you and you'll be here when I wake up. I love you. I do. Please, please, please let me sleep.
Dana lays on top of Henry.
I am not you. You're not me. I can move if I want to.
Dana hugs Henry.
I can move if I want to. I can move if I want to. I can move if I want to.
Dana kisses Henry. Interior, studio, night. Henry crawls in. He rummages through the mess and finds his phone. The battery is dead. Henry plugs in his phone. Dana engulfs Henry from behind.
Eat the skin, eat the skin, eat the skin!
I am me. I can move if I want to. Shut up. You are not real, and I don't need you anymore. I imagined you.
We made you. Your existence is a figment of our imagination.
You and Dana have no place here. I am me. I can move if I want to. I can press buttons and I can see screens and I know what the natural world is.
You are not natural. You are not a man. Your art is proof that you were not meant for this plane.
You're right. And neither are you. Both of you.
You insolent, filthy little reptile.
You overbearing piece of shit. You perfectionist, overbearing, black hole piece of shit. We didn't make anything. You don't love me. You never loved me. You said we would work on my project. Where is my project? You fell short, Max. You fucked up. You didn't deliver, baby.
You're nothing but spectral dust. You don't
Hey, baby.
belong in the
Henry?
world.
Henry, are you
don't
there?
Deserve
Henry,
love
I can
from
barely
that
hear anything.
stupid
Are you-
whore of a
Are you
wo-
are you okay?
Fuck you and fuck her. I know what's real and what isn't.
What's real? What do you mean?
I
What are
don't
you
care that I
talking-
won't be remembered. I just want to be loved. And you don't love me. You don't love me. She does, though. I know what love is. See, you failed. Yes, I won. I won because I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing left to lose except my life.
Henry, it's me. It's Terrace.
You're not Terrace.
Well, this is awkward. It says Terrace all over my things. What do your things say?
Henry. That's me. I'm Henry.
She's the reason we left in the first place. She's the poison of society. Cut the normalcy away. This is her fault.
Dana rests her head on Henry's chest.
They can hear you.
That's okay. They can listen.
She's not listening.
You're not listening.
I can hear you, Henry. It's very brave of you to call me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you do me a favor? Can you name something you can hear?
I can hear you.
Yes, yes, you can. Since that one was so good, can you name something in the room you can see?
Dana gives Henry a lap dance.
I can see my name.
That's right. And your name is?
Henry.
So good. You're a natural, Henry. Name something you can touch.
Dana brings Henry's hands to his face.
My hands are so dirty. Oh God.
Henry, stay with me, baby. Breathe. You're doing so good.
I can touch my face.
What can you smell?
I can smell.
Max and Dana exit.
Henry, breathe.
Shit. I definitely burned something.
Interior, kitchen, day, montage. A pot of coffee is brewing. Henry opens a faded pill bottle. The note from inside reads, "The early bird gets the worm. The second mouse gets the cheese." The hand snatches the note away from Henry. Terrace kisses him on the cheek. End of montage.
How are you feeling?
Like absolute garbage.
Shit. I told that quack that dose is still too much.
No. I was up late sculpting. I mean, yeah, I get a bit more lethargic than I'd like in the morning with this new dose. But at least I can fucking feel something. Last night was all me, babe. I got a little carried away with this new technique I saw on YouTube. That's all.
Hey, we talked about this. You can tell me the truth. Just say it was your girlfriend.
Okay. Shit. Damn it. I really thought I hid those panties better.
You can't hide panties from me. I'm the motherfucker panty snip. You know what? I'm not going to go there.
Well, if you want to go there, I'm here for you.
But seriously, no Max? No Dana? Good. Oh, baby, come here. I've got 2 hours till changeover. Need anything?
Well, I could use your help signing up for a sculpting class.
My the great Henry Posa, how you have fallen to need
I mean,
self-improvement, humility, trying new things. How dare you? What have you done with my Henry? Baby, that's fucking amazing. Of course. Oh my God. Like a whole course load or just one or two classes?
one or two. There was a class on glass blowing that looked really neat, and we can totally fit a glass oven in the studio. See, I figured why not start with something I've never done so I don't have to feel bad about being bad at it, right? It's not where we want to be, but I have a good feeling that I can learn some new things. Maybe I don't have to go mad to be an artist. What do you think?
I think that sounds really good.
End of the short film.
I don't know.
Woo!
Sorry for that soft interruption on you there, Luke, at the end. I
That's cool, man.
was too into it.
Me too.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
It really peaks there, doesn't it?
Ooh,
So, let's get into it.
Right.
let's do this.
Absolutely, for me at least, I'll start off with saying I love this piece and the way you were able to how do I word this? Navigate mental health through a perspective of someone going through it. I really found that you nailed such a wondrous feeling that a lot of people with mental health issues struggle with, of having to talk to someone who is not experiencing the same reality that you are. Um, where you have where they don't like, so this person Max and Dana are very real, where for Taurus it's not. So for them to have a hand on their face while explaining to them that they know that it's not real. I love that.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a tricky relationship with like affirming somebody's reality and trying to help somebody who's going through psychosis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you don't want to put them in a position where they feel completely alienated, but you also don't want to make the condition worse. And I think Terrace is a good balance of that. There's some faults, like some inherent faults in how Terrace approaches approaches that, but you can see that they are clearly trying to walk that line, instead of just being like, no, they're not real, accept it, get over it, move on. It's an acceptance of these emotions that you're experiencing are real. The reality you're experiencing is real to you, and like an honoring of that while still trying to help remove remove Henry from that situation.
Also, kudos to you. Just jumping off that. Also, kudos to you, Korey, for having like mental health issues that sort of skew your sense of reality is a trope that comes up in some films and like some short films, and it's done badly a lot of the time. And kudos to you for not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, right? It's hard for someone who hasn't gone through it to write about it. And I felt like a long time these were only my private thoughts, but my partner has always encouraged me to share them because I've been through them. So those of us who have actually experienced it can share that experience. And I based Terrace off of my partner as well, because she's a normie, if you will, for lack of a better word, but she's done an amazing job of trying to understand the parts that she can in order to still be a support, which I think is just like, I advocate for that 100%. I don't think there needs to be a segregation, but I do honor that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt. I just I wanted to say that I can feel how connected you are to Henry, simply because of how easily it feels like you made Henry a sympathetic character.
Mm.
right? With delusions and stuff. As Luke was saying, it's very easy to do it poorly and to almost make a protagonist into an antagonist just because they have like they're dealing with psychotic episodes, right? Um, and and the balance is perfect where it's clear that Henry wants to change, wants to improve himself, like he wants to get better, um, and the active actions behind that are very clear.
Mm.
Mhm. Where I want to jump into next was talking about the pacing of this show. So reading these montages, did you have the idea of them for to be very quick, or were these more like long, paced out things? Because I know for me, I would have loved to see just kind of the stillness and the ease at the beginning, and then kind of have it build into more fast.
That is my idea, is that the montages would give a clue as to the pace of the action.
Gotcha.
Because you've got three, maybe four states essentially. You got medicated Henry, you've got manic Henry, and then you've got defeated Henry, if you will. So, like, yeah, that's what I was hoping. Like the earlier ones, like the first montage is very much like there's a lot of scenes in it, so it's dry and it just sets the tone. But then when you have like making craft dinner or watching grapes in the go in the microwave,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that was my idea. Was that the montages? I also felt in my first two drafts, I was spending a lot of time trying to use actions to show the pace and trying to use like a single scene. And it seemed like with what was going on, it's very much a like cut, 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 cut
Yeah.
kind of pace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair to say. I can see the speed changes in your montages. Some of
Yeah.
them lend themselves a lot more to slow and steady, and like other things are a little more jump out.
Yeah. One thing that I've been learning this year is playing opposites. So having that juxtaposition between Dana and Max,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's really easy to get swept up in being all hyper, 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 hyper. Especially with Max, it doesn't seem like I gave him any room in his dialogue to like take a breath.
Yes.
And it's also clear that Max and Dana do very different things for Henry,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Dana is a support, and Max is like, or yeah, Max is sort of like a motivator. Even if it's like, even if both of those things are problematic in how they're displayed, that's what it read to me as is like Dana is something that Henry has like a person that Henry has created to support him. Right? She's quiet, calm, always like physically connecting to Henry, and whereas Max is go go go, get things done. It's almost id like in Max's response to the world.
Yeah, Max definitely came a lot easier. Dana, I did have a struggle finding her objective. Like, what does she
Mhm.
want? What is she connected to?
Um,
Yeah.
because I was gonna jump on that and talk about Dana and how I was gonna ask what her purpose, yeah, was for you in your mind, because uh, I was curious what the choice was with, yeah, having this uh, Max character be the one that's very spoken, where Dana is spoken mostly through physical touch and embodiment almost of a beauty, but also could be seen as possibly sexualized version. So I was curious where that take was going to go in your head when filming. Is she meant to be more of a beautiful sexual desire, or if she's meant to be more of a just physical spoken person, right? Kind of like someone who wouldn't be able to speak.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
it's hopefully I'll be working with a director,
Yes.
and as the writer, I like to leave that to to trust that to a director. I don't think this would be something I would want to direct.
Okay.
I've
Fair
never
enough.
acted in it, but I think that in terms of what Dana wants, it's possible to be sexualized, but the way that the objective that I thought of was comfort and a sense of home.
Okay.
But like Dana's job is to cure Henry's loneliness so that Henry feels like he doesn't need anybody else.
All
She
right.
she really seems like a grounding force.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense to me now.
Mm. If I were to expand this, like are you looking to make this bigger, or is this how you want the piece to finish?
How do you mean?
Like would you want to expand this into a longer piece?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I like it where it is. What are you
Mhm.
thinking? Like as an episodic?
Oh no, I think this is like it's a clean story. Don't get
Okay.
me wrong.
Yeah.
It's a clean story of
I was gonna call you on that, Skye.
of Henry's experience. I was just wondering if this. I know that like when you go to a workshop, it's always in progress, and I was wondering if the progress of this was that it would be bigger, longer, or
Actually,
if it just was more of an editing thing.
yeah, I actually wanted to be. I'm looking to make it more concise.
Okay.
And it so far has two settings. It's got the kitchen and the studio, so I'm pretty happy with that. If I were to expand it, it would be to show Henry actually like trying out and like going to a new class and meeting somebody.
I was just about to suggest like if you were to expand this to explore Henry's agency a little more. To allow even if Henry falls back and realizes that this is like where Henry's comfortable,
Mm.
I would want to see Henry like going for something bigger, working on something bigger, and seeing that Henry find his own um, like his own spot that he is comfortable with, right? Because right now we're seeing Henry in a lot of discomfort.
Mm.
We see progress, of course, but I'd like to see where Henry falls and is comfortable, even if it's only for a short amount of time. Like knowing that Henry has a comfort point and that it's reachable for him.
Mm. See
You know?
that it's interesting that you say that because the hope of reaching it is where I wanted it to end when I
Okay, fair enough.
because another experience that I have is the recovery journey is never over. So we don't reach the rainbow spot. We don't reach
Totally
the
fair.
medication.
And if this is a story of recovery in its entirety, then that's completely fair. Seeing that there is a place to go, there is hope. I think that's a wonderful way to end it.
Absolutely. We try and add that as much as we can in our own pieces.
All right, we're hitting the
So, yeah.
minute,
So I'm
so
just gonna call
we'll
it
have to take a
intermission.
quick break. We'll be right back.
Yes, we will. And we're back.
Hello, everyone. Hello. We're
Hey.
back. Yay.
Yay. So yeah, where were we? Korey's piece.
Yes.
Yeah, we just kind of closed off saying that
Yeah.
based on what the Korey's
Mm.
based on the story Korey wanted to tell, that the ending seemed to sort of say what he wanted it to say.
Yeah, with the recovery.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also think that expanding it, like you said, Corey, like the recovery process is never over. But I also think that the main character being comfortable would not be a lot of action or drama.
Right. Yeah.
Like if they were
Yeah.
just kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was something I feel like the intro could use. I don't know. There's a lot of Terrace speaking, and I wonder about that. And like, is Henry being deceitful enough in the beginning to warrant like those accusations of having a big ego and trying to do it all by himself? I don't know. I'd just like to hear feedback about that because I tried to give Terrace some brevity, some sense of humor because a lot of it it's pretty heavy stuff sometimes.
I'd actually say the beginning with Terrace a lot of it actually reads to me as just kind of them, like Terrace knows Henry very well, clearly, and feels comfortable making these jokes and sort of playing with Henry's mental health issues in a way that Terrace knows Henry's not going to be like very upset about it. I think Terrace is trying to get the information out, but also trying to be light, like you said, like play around a little bit, and beat around the bush a bit. I actually didn't read the what you were saying, where um, Terrace was a little bit too like forthcoming. I believe that's what you were saying, something like that. I didn't read that. I read it more like almost Terrace is a little bit frustrated, which is completely fine, like completely natural. Even if Terrace doesn't want to show it, it's coming out a little bit of like, we've tried this, we've tried it over and over again. We're trying to get you better, and you don't, you're not getting there, right? And even if it's not frustration with Henry himself, but just the process, I think that's not an unreasonable thing for, as you say, a normie to experience when they're going through something like this.
Yeah. Sort of unrelated to the mental health aspects of this, being like a person who went to like film study school and has saw a lot of short films made by straight dudes, I kind of appreciated that you wrote a girlfriend to the main character that was not a bimbo. Like, pardon my
Right.
language, but you know,
Is
like,
that a common thing?
oh yeah,
It's
like,
unfortunate.
In indie films.
it's a chronic problem to really underwrite the female characters in a lot of student films.
Yeah,
I mean,
this-
in films, but I mean,
especially like young men who've never like really had a lot of interactions with women.
yeah,
You get a lot of writing that doesn't know what a woman is like, sounds like, does.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
like beyond like fails Bechdel test, like
Yeah.
not like really really bad. And yeah, I just appreciated that it was like, oh yeah, this girl seems cool and like has her own thing, like has
Yeah.
her own life.
I do think Terrace might be a little too harsh with
Mm.
Henry, especially because Terrace is being introduced this way. Right? Maybe if this comes up mid, where Terrace is pushing a little bit more and like playfully toying with Henry, but if Henry is really non-responsive,
Right. She
and
would-
Terrace is pushing, you get that balance of like, oh, Henry's a little uncomfortable in this situation, and it puts a bad name on Terrace. So maybe just like lighten up even just the swearing for Terrace at the beginning, like where it becomes more playful when it's not like when the cursing isn't there. I don't want to say like don't use any swear words, but it's
No,
just
I
like,
know what you're saying. Like let Terrace's character build a little bit. Let the
think-
rapport build between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know that this is who Terrace is. This is how they interact as people, so that you don't think Terrace is just being mean.
Yeah, yeah. I based it off someone who I know who swears like every other sentence, and they don't even know
Fair
it.
enough.
Gotcha. Because yeah, that was for me. That's how I read it. The character is someone who did swear a lot.
Mhm.
So it was tough to determine in my own understanding of it on my first read whether or not it was a friendly type of normal swearing or
yeah.
more of a like, come on, I'm sick of this kind of
Yeah.
thing. It wasn't until later that I figured that out.
Gotcha.
That might be like a script to screen thing, though. You know,
And I
That's
wondered.
fair.
I wondered
It's-
too.
you know, like I find in my own writing, I really struggle with like writing a line that is really dependent on delivery. And it's like, oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure. But when we're just reading it in this situation,
Yeah.
it's a little
Well,
ambiguous.
I would say if Korey is not planning to direct this, then it might be worth writing something that's less based on direction.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Because yeah, I know
But it is a
Stanley
balance.
talks a lot about that balance between what is too much direction and what is not enough. because I tend to overly be like, this is how I want you to perform it, or else get out of my shop.
Even if you put right next to Terrace's name like playfully, that would give a lot of indication to the actor and the director of what you want it to look like,
Yeah.
without having to change all your dialogue or anything like that, or make huge alterations.
Yeah, because you also don't want to make it too explicit, right? Like you don't want to rewrite the line to have a bunch of
Mhm.
exposition.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, I care about you, and I want you to know that by the end of this, I want you to be able to go
Yeah.
and do that sculpture
man,
and be
you're
proud
killing
of it.
Skye,
I- I have the opposite problem where I'm like, I don't want to do exposition. I don't want any of that.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we have been together for 5 years, and this is so important to me.
I actually heard a really good thing on writing exposition, because some people are exposition writers, like stories are very expositional, but they're also very good. And what I heard about this is that the best way to write exposition is to write something that the audience wants the answer to, and then answer it through exposition. So if you set something up as a mystery and then give the audience the exposition to answer it, it doesn't feel as much as we're just feeding you things. It's we're answering the questions in your head. Right?
Yeah,
and
that makes
peppering
sense.
in exposition is also always good.
That
don't
makes
make
sense.
it all at once.
Say, Skye, you're
Right.
calling out my early work there with that dialogue you were pitching.
Sorry.
This is what happens, and then that.
We've grown.
Known each
We've
other
all
for
grown.
3 years. I'm trying to remember. There was one scene you really did what one of my friends have been recommending, where basically like you cut the scene as soon as the information that's important is kind of uh, gotten across. So I'm trying to find it if everyone else wants to talk.
All right. Everyone
Well,
else wants to talk.
yeah.
Good setup.
Yeah, I think the character I have the hardest time defining, even still, is Dana. Because
Okay.
that was a prerequisite, was that I wanted one to be heard and one to be seen. Like, I don't even know if I want Max to be visible. That would again be a directorial choice. Like he
Okay.
could just be a voice. He could be a shaded figure, like someone that's not quite clear in the background. It could be standing right next to Henry. That I'm not sure of. But I know that I wanted one to represent the thoughts and one represent the feelings. And I think feelings are they're irrational. So understanding their objectives can also be a lot more difficult. When I thought of Dana as being competition to Terrace, that was where I got the clearest sense of her objectives.
Oh,
But I
okay.
would say, yeah, I still have issue with that.
Go ahead, Luke.
I think maybe a little like stage bloop, a bloop. Cool, man. Professional.
Big blue.
Cool. A bloop. A little nugget of visual description might be nice. I know, like it's also nice to sort of, give the production process more room for like casting like look and gender and age and things like that. But if it's a visual character, perhaps it could benefit from like a visual description of the character. But like just so that we can get like a feeling of who they are. But it really depends on the director that you're looking for. And like I totally understand that impulse to just leave room for the director to do their thing.
Yeah, I do love the creative process of like multiple minds coming together. Like this isn't something I feel total ownership over. I feel like I've done my job as the writer, and I would want to find the director that wants to put it. Like I want to see what you have to say.
Yeah, and that's nice. That's and like it's good that you're not like should I name names? It's not like a
I worked
like an
with
Aaron.
a couple weeks ago, just like that.
Yeah, well, and even like a famous name like Aaron Sorkin is like a very like didactic writer and does not leave room for actors or directors to do very much. But like I think it's going to be a more rich piece of art If yeah, you're right. Like there's a lot of people working on this, so we can add, not just dialogue but also visuals and sound, and it's good to leave room for stuff like that.
To me, it really does just speak into the insecurity of the writer when they don't leave their open ends like that, right? And this is coming from someone like myself who doesn't leave a lot of open ends, because that's usually what it is I'm scared that I'm going to be working with amateur hour actors who don't know what their capability is as the actor. So instead of, right, like I work with children, I work with 14-year-old angsty teens in my theater, so I usually write something that they'll understand. So I think it shows a lot of courage when writers do leave open ends.
To go back to talking to you specifically about Dana, um, you said you were having a hard time finding like what you wanted Dana to be.
Well, what she wants.
Right. For motivation on Dana, for Max and Dana, they are extensions of Henry. And I think it's best to look at them as trying to figure out what Henry is trying to gain from having them around. What does Henry need? Right? That's why I was talking about how I feel like she's a grounding character. Right? She brings Henry some level of comfort and calm. That's what it feels like from my reading. And that the motivation of having Max around is that get going kind of motivation of like the brain is basically telling Henry, even if it becomes anxious or anxiety, is saying we need to get things done. We need to do something, right? And so that's sort of how I read them as opposites, as like one is the need for calm and the other is the need for motion. And that's why they're sort of foils of each other, in my interpretation anyway.
Just thinking about this.
ahead,
Sorry, Ari.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Just thinking about this, and this is absolutely like, you don't have to use this at all. When I think about like, his need for comfort and, but also like what Dana represents in terms of visuals, you could kind of play on the sort of manic pixie dream girl tropes, because it's that's sort of a thing, is that like both the manic pixie dream girl and Dana are not real. It's like it's an emotional thing, and it's like like this idea of like a kind of ambiguously seductive woman, kind of. But
got Taurus already, right? Or Terrace. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and Terrace is like a very like is a much better like representation of like what a partner is.
Yeah, I knew right away that I wanted Dana to be feminine, and I wanted Dana to be, and for me as an artist, when I use my hands, I feel like that's me embracing the feminine in my physical. There's an elegance there. There's a confidence there. Like I know that like one of the characteristics I remember imagining for Dana was wispy. I wanted her to be wispy, almost round in her movements, like everything kind of folds and rolls. So even adding that as a visual descriptor might just add to the idea. Yeah.
After you said that, maybe even just pick, about Le Bon movements. I would look into it because that's exactly what you're describing. Le Bon movements describe how somebody physically moves through a space.
Okay. How do you spell it?
Laban.
Okay.
It's very cool.
And they just describe how somebody moves through the space. So if you flow and if you float, like using those kind of words are exactly what Le Bon would explain. And then you'd have like punching and stuff to be harder motions.
Yeah.
And I think that would give you a good starting point for like if you picked the Le Bon movements that you want for both of those characters, it would make it easier to make them starkly different.
Yeah. Funny that you say that, Skye, because I actually wrote a short film like with my sort of seed of an idea is based on Laban movements.
Yeah.
It's a really cool. If you want to write another one, Korey, it's a very cool creative tool because Laban like really tried to systematize movement,
Mhm.
movement characters and characteristics in almost like a three-dimensional grid, I believe. And yeah, it's a very cool. Yeah, one of my short films, I like basically wrote. It was no dialogue, and I wrote like as a journey through Laban, like if I looked at the arc of the short film, I was like, okay, what am I going to do this? Fortunately, my actor was familiar with Laban, and we could talk about it.
I
Fantastic.
found.
Well,
Right?
Sorry.
yeah, one of the challenges of portraying psychosis is the volatility of mood and idea shifting, and how to take someone safely through that without them feeling like it's complete chaos.
Mhm.
And I speak personally because my own experience with it is it feels like fucking chaos. So to turn it into art is still give it direction. So to have that distinction of that movement, I'm really curious now to look this up and turn it into a technical, because I know right away what I'm thinking for both of them.
Lots
And
of great
yeah.
academic articles if you're looking to have some if you're doing some boring reading. If you can sit through that, there's a lot of great like academic theater on Laban and
Laban
particularly like
has been studied in full. For
yeah,
sure.
and particularly like oh, here we go, University Awards, mid 20th century theater, like lots of like work and movement. Yeah.
Cool.
I believe Isaac had something.
So yeah, I found that scene I was talking about where it's Terrace saying Henry breathe, Henry shit, I definitely burned something. Cut to interior kitchen day montage. Uh, so yeah, right, like we've finished the scene. It had that smooth pacing, quick, and then it had this quick line delivery that changes the whole atmosphere. And it's acknowledged by the audience. The information's done. We're moving on. I just loved it so much, and I wanted to acknowledge it.
Good.
Fair enough. And it's also a smooth transition of like it's enough time that the toast would burn, but not so long that there's like alarms going off and stuff.
Yeah, that was another. I didn't want there to be balance. I just wanted to be. I wanted there to be a little bit of danger, a little bit of risk of like, oh, I'm doing things that are irresponsible, but I'm not. I hate the fucking, pardon my language, but like, oh, I'm having a mental break and now I'm in danger to other people and I'm being violent. It's like
Right.
I still have a sense of self, a sense of personage, when those things are happening and taking over. So that's something. And I also like I wanted to leave a little bit of tension of like, did he actually get better? Is he actually?
Yeah,
Like, has he resolved?
I loved it.
Mhm.
So I got some questions here that are just kind of for you, since we're getting pretty close to an hour.
Sure.
We don't want to keep the audience dragging on. So if I can ask you, what is your current involvement in the film industry?
I'm a student.
You're a student.
Yeah. As far as the film industry does, I've done one student film, and yeah, that's it.
All right.
Well,
So
good for you.
yeah, has
Mhm.
theater or film been a huge part of your life before this, or is this kind of just a recent?
Yeah, I discovered it when I was 17, and then I discovered drugs at 19, and then I kind of just went away from it, and then it seems to be something that's always been on the periphery, even when I've had job. Like I've worked as a social worker, as a personal trainer, as a waiter in a grocery store, and there's always been something that's theater or acting, performance related. It isn't until the last 3 years that I've actually decided, okay, I want to do this as a career.
All right.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so took it all more seriously.
That's
Yeah,
great.
wow. Then yeah, favorite project you've worked on in the past?
Wow. I gotta say, it was the first thing I ever did. It was a musical,
All right.
Anything Goes by Cole Porter,
Oh,
and I played Moon Eye Martin, who was public enemy number 13, and he was just a failed gangster on a cruise ship. And I literally had been cast in the role the day before I learned what the wings of a stage are. So that experience for me, yeah, it was like learning everything about the theater, learning about backstage, about the process, learning how to sing, how to dance. Just that experience invigorated me to want to be on stage and to perform, and it just seemed like something that agreed with me so well, and it really lit the fire. So that I would say was my favorite project.
Wow, that's amazing. So I think I'll just call it there. If there's anything else Skye or Luke wants to add.
Is
No, well
is
done,
there
Korey.
anything you're working on, or like anything you'd like to plug, like
Yes.
any social medias?
No, I mean, there's just me. I'm on Instagram, like Korey.Mcdermott, I think.
Perfect.
I put up my thoughts every once in a while, but not like thoughts about things that matter.
Just thoughts.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
general thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're valuable.
Somebody with money.
We value you.
Oh no, this is great. I appreciate this. This is Luke. It was great to meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
I really,
All right.
yeah, again, I really hope this bodes well for more constructive theater talks. There are more on YouTube for those who are watching. If you
Yes.
found this interesting, there are lots more people like us who are doing this as well.
Yes, and
And
we
I
will
really
have.
appreciate you guys advocating for people with mental health issues still being
Absolutely.
viable within the performing arts world. That I'm noticing is needs to change. So I appreciate that.
I was like, I don't want to speak for the whole group, but I'm pretty sure most of us are not neurotypical. Is that true for all of us?
I think I'm not.
I'm not.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
it's
don't know.
yeah.
I have anxiety. I take medication for anxiety. I
Yes,
don't know. If
absolutely.
I think we all
Yeah,
struggle with some sort of mental health concerns,
yeah.
and I think that's
representation up till now, like Luke said, has been troped really
yeah.
so hard.
so hard. So I'm really happy to just have a platform to start advocating for that.
Yeah, we're glad we could be here
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, this is so great for all of us. Anyways,
All right.
uh,
Thank you all for coming. Thanks,
Thanks for
Korey,
watching.
for letting us read your piece.